G'day, humans. What's the word? This is Chris Thunder. I am not joined by Bruce. Alex. He's taking a bit of time off, but we are going to chat briefly about WWE Wrestlepalooza live on Netflix here in Australia. And good luck to any of the listeners who are trying to get on the ESPN package, but only some ESPN packages and not other ESPN packages because stuff got rushed. I don't know if this is a regular venue for WWE, this Grain Bridge Fieldhouse at Indianapolis, Indiana. I'm just trying to have a look. This is the home of the Pacers, okay? It seems on TV, and I don't know if this is because how WWE set it up, but it came across as a really small arena on TV for WWE. Yeah, that's just my initial impressions there. So show starts and we get a new then now forever together stinger. We have changed it since the Netflix era. But speaking of the Netflix era, this is the ESPN era as we start off with a hot video to go through the history of ESPN broadcasting and WWE broadcasting and the crossover of the two. And then Triple H is in the ring for a bit. And then he leaves the ring to go backstage. And as he's backstage, Pat McAfee arrives and Triple H hugs him, and then Pat makes a full entrance. And following that, we get the first match of the night, which is, as I have here in my notes, which is match number 1 of the night is Brock versus Cena. Brock comes out first. The most notable thing now of Brock's attire, he's got like the ring canvas itself blasted in logos, blasted in advertisement. Brock not only has the advertisement on his shorts, his advertisement has been removed from his ring attire. Cena comes out with a bunch of kids. The last time is now for Indiana, wearing a very bright yellow and blue ensemble. So they do the announcement in the ring. So Cena gets announced, and then they go to announce Brock, and Paul Heyman comes out, and Paul does the ring announcement for Brock, and they high five each other on the apron. But then the match begins, and Paul leaves. So is this a one-off thing? Is this, hey, Paul is my friend, and we're going to be doing this now, where back in the day when Paul Heyman had his Paul Heyman guys who was working with a fair few different people. I thought this was a pretty good match. At one point, there is 3 AAs and a 2 count as Brock kicks out of Cena. Then there is something like 6 F5s, and Brock pins Cena in, as I get the time here, in 8:50. Match flew by. After the match, Brock bang Brock, F5 to the ref, and then gets out of the ring, gets back in the ring, F5 to Cena again, and leaves. Exactly what this needed to be. Also, Brock, bruh, making kids cry, bruh. Lots of shots here of kids in the crowd being very upset. Match number 2 of the evening sees an impromptu special guest referee that was announced during the day on the pre-show. I completely skipped the pre-show, so I did not watch. LA Knight is your special guest referee for the Vision, Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed taking on the Usos, Jimmy and Jay. One good thing about this match is the Brons finally look like a tag team, so that is great. Accompanied by Heyman down to the ring. This match sponsored by Aries, which is basically a quackery product to block EMF signals. But the Usos make their entrance through the crowd, and one of the first things they do is they call everyone in the building to pull out their cell phones and turn on their flashlights. In this match, they're sponsored to block cell phone signals. Oh, you cannot write this shit. LA Knight's special guest referee lets a lot of stuff fly, notably chairs and tables being used. This, I thought, pretty good match. Didn't really outstay its welcome, but was a pretty good match. And we get to the closing portion. I think it's Jimmy who's... I always get the Usos mixed up, and I didn't take note of which one. So Jay Uso has a chair. He's about to hit LA Knight. He pulls up short, but cracks himself with the chair, which I didn't notice on first viewing. He then gets a spear from Breaker, and this is when we see that he's just pouring buckets from his head. And they go through, the Usos get set up, they go through a table with a spear, both of them, and Reed performs a tsunami from the top rope onto Jay, and Reed here getting the pin in 17-12. Fairly good match. Pretty good go-home match. Sponsor was absolute garbage, but other than that, very good match. I'm just going through my notes here. At this point, they announce for Friday there will be a triple threat for the WWE Women's Championship. They also confirm at this point, yes, the Crown Jewel matches will happen in Perth. So it'll be the winner of Tiffany, the current champion, defending against Jade, and Nia Jax will face the winner of this next match for the Women's Crown Jewel, as it is for the vacated Women's World Championship, Stephanie McMahon, Io Sky. This was match of the night. Easily match of the night for WWE. I have not seen AEW yet. I will watch that later today. But yeah, I thought this was match of the night, deserved its runtime, and 100% the right result. I talked about briefly on the brief preview episode, but 100% the right result, the right call. Stephanie McMahon wins this world title. And, she has a big moment in the ring. Her father's ringside. Her father holds up her hand ringside, so that's pretty cool. This is what needed to happen to freshen up this division with Naomi's absence. I don't think she was going to win with Naomi before Naomi got pregnant, I should say. But yeah, I thought this was a hell of a women's match. A lot of back and forth, and Stephanie winning, pointing out something new for her on WWE main roster, the spinal tap. My dyslexia is not doing me justice, but yes, incredible move there. Following that, we got match number 4 of the evening. What I thought was going to main event at one point. It is Seth and Becky out first in purple and blue ensembles, descending from the heavens on some podium platform thingy. And then out next is AJ Lee and AJ's husband, as Punk is wearing a jacket that just says AJ's husband. Kind of telling that I guess AJ and Punk here wearing pride colours, like LGBTQIA plus colours in their ring gear the same week that WWE announces that Mania is going to Saudi Arabia. Oh, yeah. Well, I suppose that was actually last week. But yeah, within a short time frame of that happening. There were points of this match where you could see that AJ hadn't been in the ring for a little while. The crowd really wanted her in this match. the crowd were really behind her for this match, and we got a pretty good match. I thought it went a little bit long for my taste, 29-18 here, but the crowd absolutely loved it. They dug it up. And there was a spot here where AJ clears the table, Punk clears the table in the closing portions of this match. Punk puts Seth on a table, AJ puts Becky on a table. There's two couples are sort of fighting amongst each other. And then Seth and Punk are on the English table whilst AJ and Becky are on the Spanish table. And Becky sends AJ into the English table, taking out Punk and Seth. Then, back in the ring, Becky goes for the manhandle slam, AJ counters, Black Widow, and Becky taps for the first time in 6 years. Insane. Absolute right result. And probably setting up for Perth. We'll probably get AJ versus Becky in Perth, which would be interesting to see if that happens, given the other two matches we already have confirmed, and they only like doing 5 matches on these pay-per-views. But speaking of Perth, this is where we get the commercial saying, yes, next time we're on pay-per-view, we'll be coming to you from Perth with the special start time of 8 a.m. For the East Coast of America, 5 a.m. for the West Coast. I think it's 8 p.m. Perth time. After this, main event, no, not main event time, as Biker Taker is here. And then Biker Taker decides he wants to do a podcast with Stephanie during this pay-per-view. And at this point, we find out that Stephanie is your headliner and first inductee into the 2026 class of the WWE Hall of Fame. Did not see this coming. I mean, she's earned it. She's earned it for a corporate side. She's earned it for in front of the camera side, I guess you could say, persona, wrestler, however you want to word that. She has more than earned it. The question becomes who inducts her. And the one man I think who should induct her is Shane. But we haven't really seen much of Shane since the whole Soul to TKO occurred. So I don't know if that'll happen. A lot of people are saying Triple H. I get it. You've got the whole family thing there. A lot of people have said maybe Vince comes back for one night. I don't know if they would do that, but if anyone's going to pull Vince coming back one night, it would be someone like Stephanie saying, no, I want him to induct me into the Hall of Fame. Which then also raises the question, would Vince ever go in the Hall of Fame? Probably one day. Probably one day, and that day now will probably not be until he passes. If ever. And then the other name I saw flying around by some people was Linda McMahon. Which, I mean, is a nice touch as well. You sort of, if you're not going to do Vince, Linda's probably the next best option. Then it is actually time for the main event. It is a battle of the boys, as friend of the show, Warwick's boy, Drew McIntyre, comes out first. And then out comes Alex's boy, Cody Rhodes. And this was a fine match. But the ref here, I did not enjoy. There's one spot where, okay, Drew throws the turnbuckle cover into the aisleway, and the ref doesn't immediately get out of the ring to chase it. And then there's a spot where I think Cody flings Drew towards the ropes, and the ref doesn't sidestep, completely jumps out of the ring, but Drew does a schoolboy roll up on Cody for like an 8 count, while the ref is just standing outside the ring doing nothing. Later on in the match, Cody's out by the announce table, and Drew's going to put him through it like he did weeks ago on SmackDown, which sort of set up to this whole thing. And the ref's there going, no, this isn't you. And I'm just going, what the fuck? This is perfectly legal. This is the same ref who allowed Drew to do an Alabama slam to Cody's face on the ring steps earlier in this match. So Cody gets out of the way. Drew goes through the table, inches his leg, gets in the ring. Cody cutter. Cody wins. Super Cody wins. LOL. What a flat fucking finish. This was the wrong match to main event. If you were going to open the show, I should say, with Brock and Cena, because Brock's winning, and you don't want to go off the air with that, you should close the show either crowning your new women's champion from a vacated title, or the AJ Punk, Seth and Becky match. This match sucked. This match went 17-17, and it felt like it went 30. I was bored. I was disinterested. It just sucked. And this match has just been... So, week 1, Drew takes out Cody. Nothing happens for 5 weeks. Cody comes back. They smoz, sets up this match on like 1 week notice. Why should I care? Why should I care when the SmackDown women's titles there having a match? The tag titles are around that don't get defended enough. High Judgment Day. The men mid-card titles. The women mid-card titles. The women's tag titles. All of which you could have built up to a more meaningful match for here. And I get ESPN probably wanted this match here because this is part of the ESPN debut. But no, this was the wrong match to close the show. Also, thank God I did not have to pay $30 on top of ESPN for this. I'm just paying the flat Netflix price for these shows. So, also, the lads at Down Under the Mat were saying there was commercial breaks during this pay-per-view. I'm watching on delay after work, and I did not see the commercial breaks. So if I had had that, I would also be scaling this down another notch. I'm just going to say on first impressions, there was a lot of good on this show, but closing on that left me a bit on a sour note. I'm just going to go with my gut here. I'm just going to say 3 beers overall. In terms of matches, I'd recommend Brock Cena. I'll give thumbs up to. The Vision versus the Usos. Aussie bias aside, I'd say thumbs down. If you catch the last 2 minutes of that match, that's probably about all you need to catch. Stephanie Belker and Io Sky. Yeah, that's going to get my Match of the Night award for this pay-per-view. Definitely 2 thumbs up. Punk and AJ Lee. It was different from the earlier tag match, and it was something different from everything else on this show. So again, 2 thumbs up for this match. And Cody and Drew, yeah, thumbs down. Thumbs down. I'm sure when Alex comes back, he will have differing opinions, much as will friend of the show Warwick. But yeah, so that is it for Wrestlepalooza. The next big event for WWE is this weekend for No Mercy. I'm not watching that shit. I'm watching the AFL Grand Final. But on that card of note is Jacy Jane versus Lola Vice. Sol Ruka will face either Candice LeRae or Lainey Reed for the Speed Championship. There will be Obafemi or Trick Williams will versus Ricky Saints for the NXT and TNA Championship because they're having a champion versus champion match to have both of those belts. I'm just trying to find the date here. Facing Saints and No Mercy. Okay, so that must be this week on TV. that the winner-take-all match is. Trick or Oba, NXT Men's Champion. Oba, and then Oba or Ricky. Again, Oba. And Ethan Page will face Gravon Heights for the North American Championship. Yeah, it should be fine. The only one who's not in a match yet who's on the poster is Blake Monroe. But yeah, that about does it for the WWE for the meantime. Next time they are actually on pay-per-view will be Crown Jewel Perth, which at the moment just has the 2 championship matches announced of Raw Champ Seth versus SmackDown Champ Cody for some reason, and Stephanie Raw Champ versus to be determined SmackDown Women's Champ, which will be this Friday. I may or may not watch that depending on how much of the grand final I'm watching. Also, tip for the grand final, I'm going for Brisbane. Alright, that does it, humans. Thanks for joining me on this wacky little rewind over. But that being said, you can follow us at Wrestling Aus Style on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, TikTok, Lemonade, all the fun socials. You can find us on YouTube. See, Alex normally does all this. You can follow him at Prettiest Alex. You can follow me at I'm Chris Thunder. Nothing left to say but good day. We'll speak to you next time. This was supposed to be a must-watch show that is meant to be like a new tent peg for the North American market because you are selling Mania to the Saudis. This was not it for him.